What's going on, guys? The original Mako back with some more Gunfire Reborn content. And before we get started with today's video, I just want to say, so many people that watch these videos aren't subscribed to the channel. Please, if you enjoy the content, hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. It makes me want to keep posting these even more. I'm having a lot of fun with this new update. The new update's crazy. And yesterday's video, the Talisman, the weapon showcase, I'm going to be doing the same thing with the Sting today, but I also have a Talisman, so I'm going to be doing a side-by-side comparison. Yesterday's video did not give the Talisman justice, and I'll show you that in this video. And I also have a video going up tomorrow with a very, very broken Talisman that I got in a run. So like I said, make sure to subscribe if you want to see all that content. I do a ton of roguelikes. Gunfire Reborn and Risk of Rain are the main two, but every Wednesday I play a new one, and the new ones could easily just be added to the channel as videos. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what kind of content you want to see, and I can make sure to make it happen. I have a lot of ideas in my mind for Gunfire Reborn content, like a Nightmare mode showcase or tips and tricks for Nightmare mode, that kind of stuff, new character tips and tricks. But yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with this new update. So anyways, let's just go ahead and get right into it. And we are going to be using the Sting, showing it off a little bit. So the Sting is one of the new weapons. There were only two. The Talisman was one, the Sting is the other one. The Sting will always be corrosion, and it has a 25% chance to deal decay effects, which is a pretty high percent chance. 3.5 crit multiplier is the base, which is pretty solid. It's not bad. Shoots pretty fast. This one has a magazine of 9. This is all the base stuff because it has no additional adjustments from down here. So right now the one I have has reload speed 40, 50% damage against enemies burning, and 50% against enemies in decay, which is good because I'll be decaying a lot and burning a lot with my Talisman. So basically the weapon's fire mode will automatically rotate between 3-shot, 2-shot, and a single shot. In single shot mode, hitting enemies can cause explosion and break the armor of normal enemies within the range. So the first shot, as you can see, like in the chamber here, there's 3 little arrows. It shoots them. Now there's 2 arrows, shoots them. Now there's 1 giant arrow, and it'll be like a big explosion happens. And if there are enemies in the vicinity that have shields, it'll break the shield, which is pretty useful for AoE effects. And then this Talisman, I'll show you guys that later, but I'm going to showcase this off first a little bit. I might end up using the Talisman during this fight, and you'll see what I mean by I did not do it justice yesterday, because I just wasn't using it right. So it has a pretty high crit multiplier, so you're definitely going to want to be aiming to hit those crits whenever possible. I mean, you always should, but especially with this weapon. It's honestly, for a single weapon against this boss, not doing terrible DPS. I think I was hitting some 4,000s there, which definitely is not bad. The only thing is the 2-shot and the 1-shot definitely have some kick to them. And it makes it a little bit harder to stabilize on the head. But honestly, once again, for a single weapon, we're not doing that bad in terms of DPS. 2-phasing this guy is pretty average. So if you can be 2-phasing, you're in. Oh, that's gonna hurt. There we go, and got the boss down relatively quickly, without like any. And it doesn't have any crazy modifiers on it. Just a pretty basic one. So that's not bad. But out of the 2 weapons, yeah, regen hit. Out of the 2 weapons, the Talisman is almost always more than likely your better choice. In the video yesterday, I was like 50-50 on it, but I'm like, you should pick one up 100% of the time, unless you're on the bear, because you can't dual wield with Albi with the Talisman. But if you're on the cat or the bird, you definitely want this weapon. And if you get a really good one, I'd even suggest taking it on the bear. So let's just take a look. Yesterday I was doing this. You know, not bad. Could kill things a little bit quicker. But if you right click, if you spam right clicks, it does so much better. Like, it performs way better as a weapon. And is definitely the way to use it for just pure damage. You want to be right clicking, and then right as you release the right click, you can actually left click to tote, and you'll throw 2 extra. And it doesn't actually like take any more time than if you're just spamming right click. But look, a defensively robust soldier just getting hit in the head so many times. If you have any sort of crit synergy at all, it is so good at what it does. And it's almost like a must pick up weapon if you're not on the bear. And the fact that I'm even saying that if you're on the bear, there's actually cases where you would want to take this is crazy. Because you can't dual wield with it, and that's like the whole point of the bear. But there are some good enough talismans where you would want to take this, even if you're not going to get the dual wield out of it. But let's go back to the sting. I haven't had a chance to use it quite as much as the talisman because I just unlocked it yesterday on stream. Like, especially against like these guys, the bandit tacticianers, or retainers I should say. It could be a lot better because it's very hard to hit their head. Coyote that hit me for that much? The heck? And not to mention with the talisman, the fact that you just have whatever damage type you want makes it a pretty solid choice. I need to get better at switching between. Ooh. Switching between the different weapon types when I'm playing. I didn't mean to dash there, and then I panicked after I dashed. There we go. So with the talisman, like I said, any sort of crit synergy is kind of what you're going for, and frankly, even for... none of those are great. Even for the sting, you want some crit synergy too, because obviously with a high crit multiplier, the higher you can get that crit damage going, the better. I think this weapon is better on the bear because you can dual wield with it, and using my tips and tricks video that I posted a little bit ago now, the no recoil tip, you could have this weapon doing some wild things if you get it with no recoil. If you start using this thing and it has no recoil, you're going to be demolishing enemies. So I think the talisman is better on anybody except the bear, and I think this thing is better on the bear. Now I will say, like when in that scenario right there, when there's a lot of these things around me, the explosion is really, really nice. So for clearing ads, it does a pretty good job. I need to be better at reloading, or not reloading, right before I'm about to get my single burst. Also, you want to look for rate of fire upgrades with this thing. The faster you're shooting it, the better. Actually, I'm going to use this to... You can see how high the DPS can go when you're hitting all headshots. Like you can two burst people. Rogue Arsonist nonetheless. Shouldn't that have bypassed his shield? Hold on. Interesting. Also, since I've been playing a lot more, after my gameplay the first day with this character, and my 30k cleave damage video, which was kind of crazy, I have a lot more tips and tricks for this guy. He's actually really, really good. Like, very powerful. I think he's... I don't know if he's quite powerful enough for me to say that you should take him, or like if you're just going to win a run, you should take him over Albai, because it's hard for anybody to beat how good Albai is at just killing things. I've gotten both the parkour ones here. I'm not complaining about. It's a little bit easier. I would have been complaining about it if I... What? I overshot it. If I was still trying to get the talisman, but... Yeah, between the two weapons, I would definitely say the talisman is the better of the two. The more versatile weapon, the more useful one. There are very, very few weapons. I'm trying to see if I can even think of another weapon that I would say that you can't dual wield with, that I would say you should take on the bear if you get a really, really good one. I don't think there is one. What are the other ones that can't dual wield? Are the golden bow, and is that it? I think there might be one more, but yeah. The talisman can do some silly, silly things, and you'll see that in the video tomorrow. I got very, very lucky on my roll, and it's just so used. Like, once again, crit synergies on that weapon are just everything you want. Now, like the final shot of this sting, that right there just did about almost 10k damage in one shot, which is kind of silly considering I don't have any crit synergy. So if you're playing and you're using the sting on like the cat or something, which I guess doesn't have crit synergy per se, but it has like hex smoke and 30% damage, or the ascension tree where you do extra damage against enemies under elemental effect. Both of those are really, really good as buffs to any weapon, but especially the sting. Anything that has a high crit multiplier, you're going to be wanting to do as much damage as possible in a single shot. I don't know why, like, when you first switch to a weapon, first switch to this thing, you do like rapid fire through the... Yeah, that explosion up close does some work. Once again, maybe I'll be coming out with a video tomorrow explaining how I used this wrong too. But I would probably give this one like a 6 out of 10, and the talisman like an 8 or 9. I think I say that tomorrow in the video that's going up tomorrow, but... And maybe I just haven't gotten a busted roll on this one. That's also very possible. The explosion seems really nice, but outside of that, the recoil's a little bit crazy. Makes it a lot harder to hit the headshots that you kind of need to be hitting on this thing to really optimize its DPS. Because without the headshots, it's basically just a below average damaging weapon until the explosion, and then once you get to the explosion, then it's much better again. But see, right there, why does it just... You can't hold down the trigger, but like if I switch to this and switch back, okay, it didn't do it that time, but I don't know, something weird. Maybe it's like a bug going on. You can rapid fire so fast, but if you get rate of fire up on this thing, it's so useful. Oops. Alright, so I'm gonna try to get through this second boss. Actually, I might not even. I might just finish out this stage. I don't want these weapon review videos to go too long. And since the stage is almost over here, let's do a quick side-by-side. So The Sting, 3 burst. Each burst only uses 1 ammo too, like the triple shot doesn't use 3 ammo, which is good. Does an explosion at the end that breaks shields. Very, very useful explosion. High rate of fire is what you want. You want any sort of crit synergy you can get, or extra elemental damage. Any way to just pump this thing's headshot multiplier. Like, it's doing 10k on the last shot, which is so good. If you're on the bear, very, very highly recommend to get this, and then have like a prism or a glove that has no recoil as your other weapon. So that way you can just cheese the recoil, which is like this thing's major downside. If you don't know how to cheese the recoil, go back and check out my no recoil video. It's a very, very good tips and tricks video, like a crazy tip that I don't know if anybody even has made a video about. But that's it for the Sting. The Talisman here, you want to be spamming right click, and then like I said, if right at the end you left click, you will just throw 2 to 3 additional paper slips, or talismans I guess, and it takes no extra time. Like, no extra time at all. If you were just spamming right click, you'd be shooting just as fast. If you have, so on this weapon, you want rate of fire is also really good with this weapon. Additional projectiles is so good. And you want any sort of crit synergy, especially on this weapon, because of the fact that you're going to be hitting crits like, probably not 90% of the time, probably like 80% of the time you're going to be hitting a crit with this thing. So you definitely want some extra crit synergy. Yeah, sure, we'll go with that. But yeah, those are the 2 weapons side by side, a little comparison. The main focus of this one was the Sting, just showing that off to you guys if you haven't seen it yet. Hasn't been on the channel yet, so I figured I would go ahead and show that. Its last bullet does a lot of damage, and that explosion is really good. Like, it does so much extra damage to the enemies around. And once again, it's just important to note, hitting enemies can cause an explosion and break the armor of normal enemies within the range. So elites don't count, just normal enemies. And then the Talisman, right click. That's all I'm going to say. Secondary fire is what you want to be spamming with that thing. It's so good if you do it that way, and I'll show that off even more tomorrow. But yeah, right click and then left click at the end. Once you get the timing down, it's really not very hard. But these weapons are really good, actually. The last set of weapons was the Glimmering and... oh, what was the other new weapon that came out with the Glimmering? I don't even remember. That's how bad the other one was and how good the Glimmering was. So these are a lot more balanced. I could see very real scenarios using both of these weapons, and hopefully I can get a broken Sting roll sometime so I can get that to the channel too. But yeah, that's it for this video. If you want to catch me doing these runs live, check me out at Twitch, twitch.tv/theoriginalmako. The link will be in the description. I go live every day around 8 o'clock Eastern time, 8 p.m. Eastern time, and I stream until about midnight to 2 o'clock in the morning, depending on if I have work the next day. So a lot of time to check out live runs there. I play a lot of other games. There's a lot of really cool people that hang out and chat. So if you want a place to hang out and just chill, have a nice chill evening, come check that out. Other than that, like I said, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what kind of content you want to see about this new update or other games you want me to try out. I'm always down for that kind of stuff. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. I love your faces, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.